What's up, everybody? Welcome in episode 4 of Around the Felt, AFC South edition. I am your host, Colin Tong, with my sidekick, Reagan Loescher. Reagan, I hope you're more prepared for this episode because I whooped that ass last one.
Oh, as your sidekick, I am so prepared, you know. It's not every day you get to be the sidekick to a guy like this. I mean, oh my gosh, he was my high school hero. I mean, when he wasn't shoving me in lockers, I mean, I was just cleaning up his jockstrap. You know, he was the best football player at my high school.
False.
It's just so cool every time I get to go to his house and watch him run around in his varsity jacket. Be like, you wish you had one of these. But you know, so
these are crazy accusations.
All right. Well, anyway, let's dive into it. A lot of breaking news. Actually, 2 big things just broke like right before we started filming this in the past hour. We saw 2 running backs go off the market. The first one being Ezekiel Elliott. He signed with the Pats on a 1-year deal, and then shortly after that, we saw Dalvin Cook sign with my New York Jets.
I'm sure you're pumped up.
I'm very pumped up.
That's a big sign. He signed a deal up to $8.6 million. He's worth it. 4 years in a row, Pro Bowl running back. Curious how the backfield gets broken down there, specifically fantasy-wise. With Brees coming back from the knee, it's some good insurance for the Jets. What do you think? Is it going to be a 50-50 time split? Who do you think takes more touches?
In the beginning, I think it'll be actually a 60-40 in favor of Cook, maybe even a 75-25. I think they're going to ease Brees back in very, very slowly because they have Dalvin Cook. There's no reason to rush him back in. We still have Michael Carter as well, he's nothing special, but I mean he's got a skill set in the receiving game, and Zonovan Knight shown some flashes last year, so I think they're going to ease Brees back in. And I think we're going to see a lot of Dalvin Cook in the beginning until Brees Hall kind of wins it out, and then it's going to go like a 60-40, 75-25 in favor of Brees.
That's fair. I think it's pretty safe to say the Jets have the most loaded backfield in the entire league now. You have 2 guys that, if they're both on their own teams, are 2 potential Pro Bowl players. I think it's a great addition, not going to lie. Now, with Zeke going to the Pats, I think a lot of us expected him to kind of go back to Dallas, especially with...
I was hoping he went to the Jets, but I'll take Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, you'll take Dalvin Cook. Probably paid him more money, but... I think Zeke's a good fit for the Pats. They want to run the ball. They want to protect Mac Jones. Fantasy-wise, I really don't think this hurts Ramondre Stevenson very much.
Really?
I don't. Zeke's going to fill a specific role that Damian Harris filled. I think Ramondre still gets 250 touches this season. He's still their 3-down back. He's still the receiving back. I think Zeke eats into the other guys' carries more so than Ramondre's. Ramondre's really good last year. I saw a stat. He had like 210 carries, and other Patriots backs had like 150. And someone was like, I think he's eating in that 150, replacing that more so than taking away from Ramondre. And I thought that was interesting. I don't mind it necessarily.
I don't know though, because I mean, I feel like Zeke is such a good 3rd-down back in terms of pass blocking that it makes me think he is going to cut into a lot of that 3rd-down work.
Yeah, I mean, Ramondre's definitely one of the better receiving backs last year.
But the fact that Bill Belichick went out and got a guy as flashy as Zeke, I mean, not even on the field, but he's just like one of those guys that's just like flashy even off the field, and just kind of a bigger name guy, kind of tells you he has a role for him here and wanted him.
He definitely does.
It's a weird move for Belichick because we all know Zeke hasn't been very efficient the past couple of years. So for Belichick, out of all people, to go out and get him, and honestly, $6 million's not like a small contract. Like that's a lot of money to be paying a running back for 1 year. That with the production he had last year.
That's true.
So
that's a good point.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting how that shakes out. But what about Zeke's former teammate, Zach Martin? Getting a new deal?
He got his money. It was weird. Jerry Jones was talking to the media so much how he's got to pay other guys and this and that. At the end of the day, they know they're not the same team without Zach Martin. Arguably the best guard or offensive lineman in the entire league has been since he got drafted. They needed to get him back. They're not the same team without him. I thought it was good for him and the Cowboys. He got, I think, $4.5 more this year, $4 million more next year. The last 2 years of his deal had to be done.
Yeah. No, I mean, not much more to say about him. He's one of the best guards in the league, and I mean, you want to make him happy, so you got to pay him. You can't let him walk because he's kind of the leader of that offensive line, and without him, it kills the run game, and it gives Dak a lot less time in the pocket. So.
Absolutely. Back to preseason, Ravens 24th straight win. I mean, they're just an absolute.
I mean, from a better perspective, that's pretty cool. If you're a big gambler out there, I guess just go bet on the Ravens, and you're gonna have a good chance to make money. I mean,
they haven't lost a preseason game since before Lamar Jackson even started a game at Louisville.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
Harbaugh just that's his.
He loves it.
Yeah, he loves it.
The spread was 5.5 though. They won by 1 point, and they were like -220 in the money line. So
and 5.5 for a preseason game is This is honestly a huge line.
That is a lot.
Like, that's a lot of points for, like, a ton of backups playing. I guess at this point, Vegas knows you got to make a big line because you know that they're going to be trying the whole time. So.
Everyone's just going to take a money line.
But, and then I want to highlight the fact that, like, all 4 rookies taken, or the 4 first rookie quarterbacks taken in Young, Stroud, Levis, and Richardson, all of them struggled. Not one of them had a touchdown. And there were, between Levis, Stroud, and Richardson, they all had interceptions. Young didn't have one, but none of them were really able to do anything. Nobody really looked too efficient, and they were turning the ball over. A lot of them struggling to move the ball, and really none of them stuck out to me. Did any of them really stick out above the rest?
I will say with Young, I saw him stick in the pocket and take some hits, which that was everyone's question mark on him coming in with a small stature. Like, can he take hits at the NFL level? He did show that he can do that. He's going to stick in the pocket, and he's still going to deliver the ball. So I think that's a good sign for him moving forward. Richardson's interception was a little weird. He did like a little step back. Like, it was kind of flashy. That won't work in the league. He obviously has a lot to learn, but his physical tools give him a lot of upside. Not really expecting a ton from Will Levis.
I don't think he plays at all, but we'll get into that more later.
He was inaccurate in college. You could blame the ankle injury he had last year, the change in coordinators, where his accuracy dipped a little bit, but he was still inaccurate the year before, and he had more weapons. So I don't know. I don't really expect much from Will Levis. I don't think he'll ever become a franchise caliber quarterback. And with Stroud, I don't know your thoughts on Stroud. He was really accurate in school, had a really good touchdown to interception ratio, but I'm not sold on him. I'm really not. But then again, I'm not putting any stock into the first preseason game. We've seen rookie quarterback like Peyton Manning threw how many interceptions? More than 25 interceptions his rookie year.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence threw a ton of interceptions his rookie year.
Yep.
Which we'll get into.
Yeah, and more so just wanted to highlight the fact that not one of them really showed any flashes.
Yeah,
you can't really say any of them went up and above expectations. They all kind of underperformed in my books.
Yeah,
but
that's a fair thing
again,
to say.
it's their first pro game ever, and preseason for that matter, and none of them got a ton of time.
True. And then some weird news that came out today. Former NFL tackle Michael Orr, who the movie The Blind Side is based on, he sued the couple that took him in. Apparently they never adopted him when they told him that they did. And they misled him into believing that they were adopting him, but then placed him in a conservatorship. So apparently the parents made millions in profit off the movie. They got $250K up front and 2.5% of the film's proceeds, which grossed over $300 million. And Michael Orr didn't get a single dollar from the movie.
Yeah,
that's pretty big. I don't know.
The weird thing to me is why is this coming out now?
Yeah, why the lawsuit happened now? Like, he's done. He's been out of the league since 2016. It's a weird.
It makes you think like what's going on behind the scenes.
Struggling with money. I mean, I don't know. You don't want to assume stuff like that, but it's just weird that on a random Monday, in 2023, there's this big lawsuit over the movie.
Yeah, because when did the movie even come out? The movie came out. Hold on. I should have. Oh, the movie came out in 2009. Why is this coming out now in 2023?
Yeah, because he would have gotten $1 like 15 years ago. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's the weird thing. It's like why. So it's like, assuming these allegations are true, it's messed up. But if
it's terrible. It's inhumane. It's
I don't even know how to react to this. It's just so weird to me that it's coming out so long after the fact.
It's weird. In the movie too, they were facing the allegations when he originally committed to Ole Miss. You remember they started off the movie and the NCCA was investigating him?
Yeah.
So it's like, if there's smoke, there's fire kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a weird situation. It'll be
weird.
Interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple months to years. But
all right, that concludes our NFL news segment. We're going to transition into our second segment. Questions from the community. Joe, what do we got?
So these are AFC South based. So our first question is from Big G.
Big G.
Big shout out Big G. All our graphic design work.
Yep, right there. That one you see there. That's all Garrett. So if anyone has graphic design needs out there, hit him up. He does a good job. He's made all the graphics we've used so far. So and that's Garrett for you guys, Garrett Losher.
Big G wants to know which Texans wide receiver will lead their offense in yards this season.
Oh man, this is such a terrible receiving corps. It's very unproven.
I wouldn't say I think it's very underrated.
It's very unproven. I mean, Robert Woods is washed. Nico Collins is
Well, I hate the fact that
Mechie's coming back. He missed all last year, recovering from the ACL, and then unfortunately had leukemia. Glad he's healthy and back, but he was good at Alabama, especially after the catch. So he's probably going to take over that slot role. They took Tank Dell in the draft, who flashed in the first preseason game.
Yeah, he had a good preseason game.
He's more of a gadget type receiver. I think he's only 5'8". But
yeah, I mean, he was a third-round pick as well.
Yeah, third-round pick, but he's a good route runner. He's good after the catch, and Stroud told Houston, I want Tank Dell. Get him on my team.
Yeah.
So they should probably form a good rapport with each other. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Nico Collins just because he has production, even with awful quarterback play, like some of the worst in the league. It's just tough. Like I don't know how these snaps are going to get distributed because Mechie's basically a rookie and Tank Dell's a rookie. It's tough.
Yeah.
I think Woods is past his prime. He's more that veteran leader in the room, but
yeah. I mean, obviously he said receiver, so the easy answer would be Dalton Schultz. I think he'll lead the team in receiving yards, but since he said wide receiver, I'm going to go with Woods just based off the fact that he is the most production out of any of these guys. And you see with these rookie quarterbacks a lot in the beginning in their career, they kind of rely on the veterans and they kind of over-target the veterans in the beginning. And honestly, with this receiving core, while I do think it's underrated, I don't think anyone's going to come close to 1,000 yards. So Woods might even have a lot of production in the beginning and then tail off like we see a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be 1,000 yards.
So I think it'll be a guy who gets like 700, but I do think I just don't expect a lot of volume out of Stroud in terms of passing yards. And there's probably like 5 or 6 guys out here that could go for like 600 to 700 yards. And I mean, what's Stroud going to throw for? Like mid 3,000s if he stays healthy and plays.
I don't even think he'll throw for 3,500. I think he'll throw for like around 3,000.
Yeah, so we'll see. And I mean, like I said, Dalton Schultz is there too, and
yeah, Schultz he'll be a good security blanket for him.
Yeah, I'm going Woods.
He doesn't have elite upside though.
Yeah,
for a receiver for tight end, but
I'm going Woods though. Just gonna go with the safe pick there.
Okay. What do you have next, Joe?
Speaking of C.J. Stroud, him or Anthony Richardson in fantasy drafts, who you picking higher? Who's going to have the better year fantasy-wise?
Okay.
Stroud.
Fantasy-wise,
no doubt in my mind.
You think Stroud?
No doubt in my mind, yeah.
Why?
Fantasy and on the... I think Richardson's going to suck this year. I think he has a lot to work on. I don't think he should be starting day one at all. I don't think he's ready. I think they should start Minshew. And I don't know if they will or won't, but I think he's going to struggle a lot, and I think this Colts team is going to have a bad year and not very talented. And I think a lot of teams are going to realize, like, hey, this guy's not developed as a passer yet. They're going to stack the box, and if he wants to go run on them, they're going to stop it. And then they're going to be like, hey, go beat us passing the ball. So I really do think Stroud's going to have a better year for fantasy. And I also think Stroud's guaranteed to start 17 games. I don't think Richardson is.
I'm going to go Richardson. I'm going opposite side of the coin here. Yes, Richardson may not be polished as a passer. Both guys don't have elite receiving corps around him. Neither really have elite offensive lines in front of him either. I just think Richardson's rushing upside, it seems like they want him to play right away, and I think if he's getting pressured a ton, like we saw last year with Justin Fields, the guy got hit and sacked so many times, and there was a terrible offensive line in front of him. He had no weapons, but he still ran for 1,000 yards. He was able to get outside the pocket and designed runs for him. I think Richardson could have a similar season where, I mean, the guy's like 6'5", 240 pounds, ran a 4.43. Like, he's literally like Derrick Henry running the football. So I think with that rushing upside, he's going to have a better year fantasy-wise. And I think he's going to have a better year straight up as well.
I don't agree with that. I mean, fantasy, I can see why, and I can see your case, and I do agree, obviously, as the rushing upside, but I don't think as a season as a whole, without a fantasy perspective, I think Stroud's going to by far have the better year.
I don't think either of them are going to really be super flashy past the ball. I think it's going to be ugly for both. I think it's going to be ugly for both, and I think Richardson's rushing
Stroud's
upside
a much better
gets
passer.
him over the edge for me.
I don't know. There's a reason Stroud went before Richardson. I mean, he's much
well,
more
he's
talented.
a much safer pick. That's why he went before.
But he's also he's a much better passer.
He's a more
too.
polished passer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why he's going to have a better year.
He's a safer pick. I mean, taking Richardson to number 4 is one of the ballsiest picks in the history of the NFL draft. It is. Yeah. He started one season.
No, you're right, and
I'm
that's
a Florida
why
fan.
I'm
I'm
not high on him at all. That's why I'm saying
he was inaccurate in school. I mean, granted, a lot of drops from receivers, and the offensive line wasn't great, but still, he was inaccurate. But what really got you going on him was those highlight reel plays where he'd rip off an 80-yard touchdown run. Like, he was electric.
Yeah.
Like, that 2-point conversion when he spun out against Utah. Pump fake
I will
spun
say,
out.
though, NFL speed's a lot different than college speed.
100%.
As we saw with the Johnny Manziel documentary, which I finally got to watch. I mean,
I will say
he
about
wasn't
Richardson,
doing that stuff in the NFL, so.
Yeah, but Richardson actually seems like he cares and is going to watch film, unlike Manziel.
No, I know, but I'm not even saying from a film perspective. I'm just saying those off-scripted, like, scrambling around making nothing out of something. Like, a lot of that doesn't work, like, especially trying to make something and then throwing it across your body across the field. It's going to get picked off.
Yeah. I will say Richardson does have one of the strongest arms in the NFL day one as well. Can he turn
Does that matter, though? Look at Zach Wilson.
Can he tune in the accuracy, though? I mean, that's the thing. That's the biggest question. He's the definition of boomer bust.
And we see a lot of these guys with the big arms with not a lot of accuracy struggle in the beginning. I mean, look at Josh Allen.
Yeah.
It sounds like a similar situation to when Josh Allen
was more consistent in college, and Allen played more in college.
But I'm just saying, a deep ball passer with a lot of inaccuracy, big,
rushing upside.
They like to run, and Josh Allen struggled a lot as rookie. So he showed a lot of flashes, but...
I understand that.
So,
yeah.
But anyway, we can move on from that.
All right, next we got, where do you rank DeAndre Hopkins currently at this stage in his career amongst the league's best wide receivers?
It's a good question.
I'm still really high on him. I still think he's top 15, I'd say, maybe even top 10. I mean, I still think he's going to be elite. I think it's going to work out well. I think with a healthy Tannehill and the fact that he probably has debatable the best running back in football there, you can't really... It's going to take away a lot of coverage because a lot of these teams are going to be focusing on Derrick Henry and stacking the box. So I think it's going to open up a lot for Hopkins. So to me, I think he's going to have a big year as long as Tannehill's the quarterback. If it's Levis, oh boy. Because, yeah, Hopkins has done it with other guys, but, I mean, at least those other guys were a little bit more polished than Levis, I'd say.
Yeah, Levis is not polished at all. I think he's still good. I'd put him more in the 15 to 20 range. I don't think he's top 10. He played 9 games last year. He played 10 the year before. He did put up 5 top 15 fantasy weeks in 9 games last season. So when he was healthy, he was productive. And he's DeAndre Hopkins. He has some of the best hands in the league. He's going to get open. So he's definitely no bum. I put him in that 15.
McCoy too.
Yeah, I put him in that 15 to 20 range. How is he going to do in this offense with Tannehill? I don't know. I don't know if we can expect him to. I mean, he should get over 1,000, right? I mean, who else they throwing the ball to? Treylon Burks?
I don't know. He'll definitely get over 1,000.
Yeah.
Assuming he's healthy.
I think healthy. You know,
I think he'll be pushing close to like 1,300 yards.
The last time we saw him fully healthy, I mean, he put up like 4 years in a row where he was a top 3 or 4 fantasy receiver.
Well, I think even if he plays like 12 games, he gets to 1,000. I think he gets to 1,000 easily.
Yeah. I mean, he should get to 1,000. He should definitely get to 1,000.
I don't think he plays 17 games just off the history. I mean, last year, granted, it was because of suspension, but I mean, he's always misses a few games.
He's 31 now, so...
Yeah, I mean, to me, he didn't really show signs of slowing down last year. So, and the fact that Tannehill's much better than Colt McCoy makes me think he's going to have a good year.
Texas legend, hook him.
Yeah, well, I just found that out the other day. So.
Yeah, you thought he played for Oklahoma. That's
terrible. Did. I mixed him up with Sam Bradford. My bad.
Nah, okay. I wonder why.
Well, all right. They're both busts.
They are both busts.
All right, I got one more question.
Candidates.
One more question.
And this one's from Luke Marty. And he wants to know who's the best quarterback in AFC South history. He believes it's Andrew Luck.
Luke, do you know that Peyton Manning won 5 MVPs?
I mean, even if there wasn't Peyton Manning, I feel like you can make a case for Warren Moon being better than him, too.
I mean, Luck could have been, you know, he didn't retire early, but yeah, I'd still got to give the nod to Peyton Manning. He won a Super Bowl with the Colts, several MVPs.
Yeah,
he's top 5 all time in my opinion.
I will say though, if Luck didn't retire all of a sudden, you could make a case that he would have been better than
Luck. He was so talented. It's a damn shame he retired.
Yeah, he got hurt so much he never had a good O line.
Yeah, he never had a good O line, and then they finally got a good O line right after he left. And then last year, we'll get into the Colts, but it all went to shit, and they were terrible. And Matt Ryan got destroyed.
He might be the second best quarterback of all time in that division. I mean, it's either him or Moon.
Right? He might be. Yeah, he might be.
Either him or
even though he
Moon.
didn't play that long. Like if you're not talking like pure career-wise stats or anything.
Although
like
you could
that,
say I feel like you could say Watson had a better career in that division than Luck, right?
I don't know. That's bold.
Because Watson was like insane, like the numbers he was putting up.
Yeah,
and he also got him into the play. Like he may have had more playoff berths with the Texans.
The playoffs. I remember the last time they got 24-3 over the Chiefs, and then Kelsey caught 3 touchdowns and they came back and won.
I know Watson took him to the playoffs multiple times, right? It wasn't just that one year. So,
what even about like Steve McNair?
Steve McNair, that's a good one.
Against Luck?
Steve McNair's a good one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean Watson had brought him to the playoffs twice, And Andrew Luck.
Looks like 4 times.
4 times for Luck. Okay, so Luck's obviously better than Watson.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Luck the nod over him. Tough with McNair.
McNair's an MVP.
Yeah, McNair won an MVP.
I mean, Moon. Yeah, Moon was a 9-time Pro Bowler.
Might be more.
He won NFL Offensive Player of the Year. So,
Yeah.
AFC wildcard, AFC wildcard, AFC.
I mean, for those of you who are like Moon didn't play, I mean, technically they were the Houston Oilers at the time when Moon was a quarterback.
Yeah,
So-
it's back in the day.
But that is the Tennessee Titans before they became the Tennessee Titans. And I mean, Moon brought them to the playoffs every year Moon had them in the playoffs in 87, 88, 89, 91, 92, and 93. So yeah, I'd say Moon's probably better than Luck as well.
I think if Luck played a full career, he would easily be second, in my opinion. But, unfortunately.
Yeah, plus Moon had 50,000 passing yards. So,
That's a good one, Reagan.
yeah, I got to go Moon above Luck.
So basically, what I'm hearing is Luke doesn't know ball.
Yeah, I guess Marty's more of a trivia guy.
Yeah,
I'll give it to him. That trivia question was by far the hardest one last
he's
time.
got another good one today. So
Oh,
good.
boy.
Marty does
Teaser
drop
for
good
later
All right,
on.
Marty,
Yeah.
stick to the trivia then. All right, any more questions, or is that it?
no, that's it.
That's it. All right, let's move into the first team.
So that wraps it up. We'll be back to you guys soon with our division breakdown.
What's up, everyone? It's Colin from Around the Felt. Appreciate all the support. If you wouldn't mind dropping a like and a comment wherever you're watching, sharing your socials, really means a lot to us. Thanks again. Let's get back to the pod.
All right, guys, welcome back in. Let's take a deep dive right into that AFC South division. All right, well, welcome back in, guys. It's time to start
Oh my
breaking
God.
down the AFC South division. Pardon that reaction there, but yeah, let's get into it. So, Jesus, man. All right, so we're starting out with the Jaguars.
Defending champions of the division.
Joe's saying his birthday cake bang over there is ass. For those of you wondering why he said
Don't
this
get
shit
it,
is
yeah.
ass.
Not good.
But anyway, yeah. So the Jaguars finished last year. They won the division
At 9-8.
9-8. Yep. Started out very slow.
They did. They finished down the stretch 8-3, and that's when Lawrence really took off and took this team to a new level.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of shit they were getting from the national media, because a lot of people were projecting Lawrence to take that second step, and when he didn't take it right away, everyone was like, "Oh, maybe it was Trevor Lawrence, not Urban Meyer." So I mean, it's
Urban Meyer might be the worst head coach in the history of the NFL.
yeah, and I think we kind of saw that's what kind of took Lawrence's growth to happen into year 2. But either way, they made the playoffs. They won a playoff game too.
Crazy comeback against the Chargers, who blew a 27-0 lead.
Yeah, that was one of the craziest comebacks ever. I mean, for those of you who gamble out there, if you bet on the Chargers, you were feeling pretty confident at halftime, let me tell you. But yeah, so the Jaguars got a win in the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence definitely showed he is the franchise quarterback for the Jaguars.
Do you have him going back to the playoffs this year?
You're not going to like this, but no, I do not. And the reason why is I think the AFC got stronger, but also I think the Titans are a better team than them, and I think only one team from this division is going to the playoffs, and I do not think it's the Jaguars.
Yeah, this
I
is
think they go
definitely a
8
weak
and 9.
division, so I do think one team makes it, and it's the team that wins it.
But yeah, no, I have them going 8-9. The win total's set at 9.5, so Vegas is projecting the Jaguars to have a pretty good season, because 9.5's, honestly, that's a pretty high line for a team, but granted they were in the playoffs last year, so it does make sense. But what do you think? What are you expecting for this team? I said I got them having 8 wins and just missing the playoffs. What
I
about
have
you?
them winning division at 10-7, and I have a ton of Trevor Lawrence stats to back up the fact that I think he's going to become an elite quarterback and show everyone why he was a 5-star recruit out of high school, a superstar at Clemson, was picked first overall, best quarterback prospect since Luke's boy Andrew Luck.
Yeah, Luke, shout out to you for that take, man.
Yeah, he lowered his interceptions from 17 to 8 from his rookie year to last year. With Urban Meyer, he had one of the worst turnover problems since 2000 among rookie quarterbacks. His 1.4% interception rate was the 6th lowest out of 33 quarterbacks with 200-plus attempts. His 3.13 touchdown interception ratio was the 5th best in the league. He's the only quarterback in the league that had a target depth of 7.25 yards or more on 500-plus attempts to throw fewer than 10 interceptions. To put that in perspective, since 2000, only 7 other quarterbacks have done that. Over the final 11 games last year, which, as you mentioned, that's when they really took off after a slow start. You could tell he started to get comfortable with Doug Peterson and his system. The Jags went 8-3. He was 7th in completion percentage, 20 touchdowns and 7 picks, 7th in passer rating, 5th in expected points added per dropback. And he was the number 1 quarterback against man coverage. In his rookie year, he was 35th in the league against man coverage. So he really took that step. He was pinpointing his passes. And the reason that I know he's elite is because Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, all last year had career years. They're all free agent signings. They paid up for them. Usually that helps really well in year 1 and it could backfire down the road, so that's something I am concerned about. But they all had career years with Lawrence, which shows he can uplift the people around him, which is what the elite ones do.
No, and also getting Calvin Ridley should help.
Oh, yeah, now you're adding Calvin Ridley, who, he's been out for 2 years, but he should be fresh. He was suspended for gambling last year, so it's not like he had a terrible injury and missed all the season.
And then the year before that was mental health issues, so it's not like it's been no effect on his body.
He is 29, but, I mean, he should look like a pretty young 29 because he doesn't have a lot of tread on his tires compared to others. Just to put it into perspective, Christian Kirk last year, 84 receptions, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Zay Jones, who a lot of people wrote off, 82 catches for 823 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Evan Ingram, too.
Ingram, 73, 766 yards, 4 touchdowns. Former Giant, I love Evan Ingram, rooting for him.
Yeah, and he's going to be there. They rewarded him with a big contract.
He found a home, He got his reward. He's got his contract, so happy for him. ETN looked really good after they got rid of Robinson. He had 41 total yards, 5 touchdowns. And after trading Robinson, he was 9th in rushing yards and 18th in success rate out of 47 running backs. So he showed that he's not elite yet, but he's still a very good back and he's capable. And he's very explosive. He was like the 10th most explosive running back in the league. He has big playability. I like that. And then they added Tank Bigsby, who's more of the downhill runner. I think it's a good compliment to ETN. I really like this offense. If there's anything that's going to hold it back, though, it is the offensive line, I will say.
Because we don't know what Anton Harrison's going to be. I mean, they took him in the first round, late in the first round.
Yeah, he's more of a project.
Yeah.
He's not really ready to play right away. The Oklahoma offense, there's really not a lot of pressure on the tackles. You don't really have to do a lot in pass pro. It's more spread them out, get rid of the ball quickly.
Yeah.
This is more so traditional NFL offense with more dropbacks. He had 14 penalties over the past 2 seasons, which is not good. You don't want You don't want that. So I don't know. I mean, Cam Robinson suspended, PEDs.
Well, I want to get more into that. This is why I have Walker Little as their X factor this year, because I think in those first 4 games, I think he's going to be a key part because of how big Cam Robinson is to that offense. I have him as my X factor because if he's able to step up and make this offense not miss a beat, and they can start off by winning 3 games, that's going to be huge. But if he can't hold it together, because you can't have 2 tackles struggling. That's what I mean.
No,
we know Harrison's going to struggle in the beginning. I mean, he's a late first round pick. Like you said, he had penalty issues. He hasn't really dealt with an NFL style front before, so we know he's going to struggle, especially in the beginning. And then throw in Walker Little, a guy who's also not a starter because Cam Robinson, like I said, suspended for 4 games. It's going to be interesting to see how this team looks in the first 4 games. I mean, obviously Brandon Sheriff's one of the best guards in the league.
Yeah, he's solid. I don't know. I mean, this offensive line was 31st in ESPN's pass block win rate a year ago. They lost Jawan Taylor, who signed with the Chiefs. If there's anything that's going to hold this offense back, it is the offensive line. They have the weapons. Trevor Lawrence is going to be an elite quarterback.
Walk around.
So I am curious to see how this team reacts.
Who's he with?
I have no idea. You want to go look? Anyway, so keep going, Colin. Sorry, our graphic designer decided he was going to come knock on the garage door.
It's Sam.
Oh, shout out to Sam Huff. He's going nuts on the pod. But yeah, sorry. We were with the offensive line, so it should be interesting this year. That's kind of one of the reasons I had them only winning 8 games is I really think they're going to struggle in the beginning because I'm not really high on their defense. And the fact that their offensive line has all this uncertainty, I mean, you're going to be basically playing 2 guys who have 0 experience at the tackles. And like you said, they were ranked, what did you say, 31st last year in pass protection? It should be interesting
31st.
to see how it plays out. I mean, Lawrence is going to have to get it out quick. I mean, it helps that ETN's one of the best pass-catching backs in the league and that they have so many talented wide receivers, but I just think they're going to struggle a lot in the beginning.
Yeah, you can kind of mask the offensive line issues. We'll see if Peterson, I mean, he's a Super Bowl winning head coach. He could probably get rid of the ball quicker, and he'll design a game plan, but That is a worry for me. I am also a little worried about the defense. I'm not going to lie. If there's
No, that's
anything
my
that
biggest
holds this
concern.
team back, they had the 27th ranked defense last year, and they played the third easiest schedule of opposing offenses. Not good. They allowed 31 points per game to teams that had an above-average offense.
Yeah.
That is my biggest concern. I think they're going to have to win in shootouts. I think they have the weapons to do so. I think they have the quarterback to do so. But still, I don't think they're a team that can make a push in the AFC. They won a playoff game last year. Honestly, I think that's their ceiling again this year. I think to win one playoff game.
Well, the thing that I didn't really understand is you had all those holes on the defense, and you didn't address a pick in the draft till the 4th round. And they had 13 picks, and they didn't take a defender till the 4th round.
Yeah, they had a weird draft. It was like a lot of guys that are developmental projects. I mean, we talked about Anton Harrison that took in the 1st round. Bretton Strange, tight end from Penn State. He wasn't great. He has good traits, and like Peterson will use two
And I
tight
don't
end
even
systems.
understand that pick. I
But
really don't understand that pick.
Nah, I think that was
You
a
already
reach.
have Evan Ingram, and your defense was that bad last year. Like, why are you but why are you taking a tight end in the 2nd round when you had a guy that proved that he was capable? Like, you have so many holes on defense. Go use that 2nd rounder to go get a defender.
And then you took Tank Bigsby in the 3rd, which, you know, that's a sweet spot to take running backs, but ETN's only going to his 3rd year in the league, which he was basically a rookie last year because he missed his rookie year.
Yep.
I mean, he's good. He does have home run potential. He averaged 9.2 yards per carry when crossing the line of scrimmage without contact, so that shows if he gets through a hole, he really has that explosive ability to get downfield. But that's not something you need to address. You know, it really wasn't. I didn't like that pick either. They traded back several times, got a lot of picks, but they didn't really have any high-impact players in year one when you had holes on a roster that could take that next step. You just won the division. You had a great end of the season last year. I agree. They should have went defense. And we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, Josh Allen, he's shown some good flashes, but he really, in my opinion, hasn't really lived up to his full potential yet.
He had 22 quarterback hits last year. That's 18th in the league. That's good. I mean, they picked him 7th overall.
That's my
you'd
point.
You'd like to see that number go up.
You see a lot of
It's
these
still
guys
good.
that are drafted in the top 10 and putting up more production.
He's not a superstar yet, but he's a good player.
And I like the Fadakasi signing last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they paid him a lot. I mean, I think they ended up giving him like $10 million a year or something. Because I wanted the Jets to keep him, and obviously we didn't keep him because of the contract. But he got paid to be one of the better D tackles, and then obviously Oluwakan led the league in tackles when he was in Atlanta. So getting him over there, he's a tackling machine. And Devin Lloyd they took in the 1st round last year, and Travion Walker, and that's another thing. It's like,
well, Walker. I mean, we could talk about that for a minute. Taking him number 1 was very risky because he has crazy physical traits. Played at Georgia. That was the best defense in the country. He was a beast. He wasn't even the best player on that defensive line. Jalen Carter was. But
and do you think that's half the reason why his numbers were better? It's just because
it
was a loaded
defense.
players
I mean,
around
he didn't
him.
even put up a ton of production at Georgia. You know, I mean, he's good against the run. He had a 9.2% pressure rate and 10 quarterback hits. Only 9.7 of his pressures turned into sacks. Like, if you're going to pick number 1 overall, that's not very good. Aiden Hutchinson was better. Kayvon Thibodeau was better. And they were both picked in the top 5 right after him.
Yeah.
I mean, Hutchinson was supposed to go 1. He had the production. Yeah, Trayvon Walker, some people think has a higher ceiling, but we've never seen those traits turn into production.
I mean, for Jaguars fans, they're probably beating themselves up because the fact that...
I mean, if you go back, you take Sauce Gardner number 1, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Sauce and Hutchinson, who they passed on, who went 3 and 4 and
2 and 4. Stingley went 3.
Ah, okay, yep. Who went 2 and 4 right after them. Both were Rookie of the Year candidates with Sauce winning it. And then even Thibodeau put up much better production than him, and even though he didn't play the full season, he still had better numbers. So it's, I don't know, it was interesting. I mean, I guess you had a better pick than the Texans, but that's not really saying much. So, and obviously Devin Lloyd wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, they just seem to like to take linebackers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Kayvon Chison, they took him, former first pick out of LSU. He only has 15 quarterback hits and 3 sacks in his first 3 seasons. He only played 9 games last year. He's a bust. He's done. I mean, this is definitely his last year in Jacksonville. He's gone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who'd you say?
Kayvon Chison.
Oh, okay.
He was part of the championship team at LSU. But they did hit on Tyson Campbell, second-year corner. This is going to be his 3rd. He was 12th amongst outside corners in yards allowed per covered snap. That's good. You'd like to see those corners take that second-year jump. That's a great sign for them. Now, can he keep it up? Because we talked about A.J. Terrell in the last episode. He had a big second-year jump, and then last year he took a step back, and he wasn't as good. The secondary does have holes. It's young. It's unproven. So they're going to need him to keep up with that.
Yeah, I mean, with Andre Sisco, too, the free safety, I liked him a lot coming out of college, and he was one of those guys that kind of dropped. But granted, we do see a lot of safeties kind of drop in the draft. You don't see a lot of first-round safeties picked anymore, but he was one of those guys that was highly ranked out of Syracuse coming into the league. So
we saw that this year. Brian Branch dropped out of the first.
Yep.
Seems like the safeties that are always talked about being first-round picks usually slide in the beginning of the second.
I mean, even Kyle Hamilton, when he was drafted, he
He
fell
was
a
supposed
lot.
to go higher. People were talking about him as a top
And I
3
think the
player
only
in the
reason-
draft. He went
yeah.
14th.
So I don't know. The whole safety position is weird with that in that aspect, but
I like Rayshawn Jenkins. 112 tackles last year as a DB, strong safety. His
it's a lot of
51
tackles.
tackles.
That's not exactly the best thing for a defense to be saying.
But he's playing in the box, though. He's not playing
Yeah.
deep. He had 51 tackles that produced a positive play for the defense, which was first amongst all defensive backs.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
it's-
That's a lot.
It's
yeah.
easy to see why this was one of the best teams against the run last year. Their defensive backs like to come up and fill. They invest in the linebacker position. I think if this defense is going to take the next step, it's Trayvon Walker. I have him as my X factor. Show why you were picked number 1, Trayvon.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You got to show why you were picked first overall. It's the second year. We need that jump because they were not good at generating pressure last year. That's going to be big for them. Who do you guys your X factor? You said Walker Little, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
How about your
I mean,
deep boy? I got Tyson Campbell for my deep boy.
My deep boy, I'd probably say Josh Allen because he, like you said, I mean, he hasn't lived up to the expectations of what I think he should for the number 7 pick, but I think he's still by far their best edge rusher at this point. And I think with what we see in today's league, it's just always the edge rusher that kind of like when you have a guy that can go out there and get like double-digit sacks, it changes the whole entire defense.
That's fair.
So I think if he's able to do that again, like last year, and get in the double digits, I think he can have a huge impact and be their X factor and their deep boy on the defense.
Do we agree that Trevor Lawrence is the MVP?
Yeah, I mean, this team obviously goes as far as he does. Well, I shouldn't say that because the defense sucks.
Yeah, the defense is
can't do
terrible. It's
anything
going to be
there.
shootouts. It's going to be a lot on Lawrence. But that is good for fantasy, though.
Yeah, but
If you have Lawrence, I'm happy. He's a QB1.
Yeah, I mean, not much else to say here outside of I don't think they'll be in the playoffs, and I'm excited to talk about the Titans, the team I do think will be in the playoffs. So why don't we get into them unless you got anything else to say about the Jaguars? All right, so let's get into the Titans. They went 7-10 last year, and I have them going 11-6 this year. The reason why I'm so high on them, and I'm sure you'll love to hear this, is the fact that Ryan Tannehill wasn't healthy all year. You know how many games he missed last year? 5. But do you know his career record as a Titans starter? 37-20.
It's good.
It's a great record.
That is a
That
good
means when
record.
Tannehill's in at quarterback, they usually win games. And my biggest thing is, the reason why they fell apart at the end was when they went over to Malik Willis, it was pretty evident that they couldn't move the ball at all.
I mean, he went 5 for 16 for 80 yards against the Chiefs, and they almost won that game.
Yeah. So
wild.
that's right there.
Down towards the end of the year, they basically had the division title game against Jacksonville, and they turned to Joshua Dobbs. So I mean,
How long was he on the roster for?
He signed the
They
week
picked him
before.
up exactly. So that's my whole thing. The fact that they were in these games with just basically playing with a guy who shouldn't be a quarterback in the league. He's a huge project, and a guy who they pulled up off the street kind of shows you that, you know, they could be a team that could be in the playoffs. I mean, I think they would have been in the playoffs if Tannehill didn't get hurt. You really think they wouldn't have beat the Chiefs in that game if Tannehill was starting? Do you really think they wouldn't have beat the Jaguars the last game of the season if Tannehill wasn't starting? I mean, the fact that it was that close with those two guys tells you something.
True.
And even Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry still went for 1,900 yards in 16 games last year. I mean, he's still a 4.4 carry, and some of those games are stacking the box because who's the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I got some stats. This is a very polarizing team for me. I have them 8 and 9. I was debating where to put them. They're such
Plus, they had DeAndre Hopkins,
they're such a weird team. They're such a weird team.
Dude,
They were 16th in run block win rate last year, 26th in pass block win rate, but they did lose Taylor Wan and Nate Davis. They brought in Andre Dillard, who never lived up to his draft status in Philly. They drafted Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern, which they have a history of producing really good offensive linemen.
I liked him a lot.
I like Skoronski. I mean,
the only reason he was getting hate was just because of his arm length.
His arm length said it was short, but a lot of draft pundits think that he can be an all-pro guard, so I think that's a good addition. But even with that, they have arguably the worst offensive line in football. And if you're relying on a 29-year-old running back who has, I believe, over 1,900 carries in his career, at some point the wheels got to fall off. And this is a bad offensive line. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, it's a good point, but I would have thought that would have happened last year. Like, he still went for 1,900 yards. Yeah. And he had his best...
Total yards, not just rushing.
No, I know. Total yards.
He had 349 touches.
Yes. I agree. It's a lot of touches, but the fact that he had 1,900 total yards and 400 was receiving, by far his career high. Like, they involved him more and more in the passing game. The screen shut off behind you. But they involved him more and more in the passing game, and I think that opened up more, made him more dynamic, but also made that offense more dynamic. Gives me a lot of hope for the team. I don't know, and like we were talking about before, they added DeAndre Hopkins. Like, we both said he's still like a top 15 to 20 receiver. I mean, I thought he has top 10 upside, and I mean, last year he still was good with Colt McCoy as his quarterback, and I'd say Ryan Tannehill is a huge upgrade. He knows how to win games in Tennessee. He's 37-20. Like, to me, I don't see how this team doesn't have a winning record if Tannehill's healthy. I mean, obviously, it all goes out the window if they decide to switch to Will Levis. I think they'll be terrible.
That's the thing that's an issue. They have a very difficult schedule the first 7 weeks of the season, which leads right into their bye. So, like, for those people that are high on the Titans, you got to hope that they're somewhat around 500 and not, 2-4, 2-5 going into that stretch, because then maybe they turn to Levis. They feel like they're falling out of the race. Because they do have an easier schedule down the stretch, and maybe they think Levis is ready. Because I personally think Tannehill is pretty washed. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with Tannehill. I mean,
I'm not saying
can he
Super
get you
Bowl
to the playoffs? Yeah,
I'm not saying Super Bowl, but I think they could go 11-6.
I also don't believe in the philosophy
surprised.
of this team, and they also, I mean, their defense is like good.
We haven't even gotten to the other weapons. I mean, I talked about Hopkins, but Burks was good.
I like Burks. I'm high on Burks.
Burks was good last year.
33 catches.
He took a while to come around, but at the end, he definitely showed flashes.
444 yards, 1 touchdown, missed 6 games. He does have great yak ability, though.
And we were a little worried with him being the number 1, but he's going to be the number 2 receiver, so I think that'll help. We'll get to learn from a pro's pro.
I mean, they were the worst receiving corps in football until they added D-Hop, so that was a big add.
Yeah,
I will say.
And I really like their tight, who was a rookie last year, Chikakonkwo. I like him a lot.
He had
a good year. And the way they use him, they kind of use him like they were using
Chigozie Okonkwo.
Yep. They use him like they were using Jonnu Smith back in the day, giving him a couple carries out of the background. He's a very athletic tight end with...
You have to plug in the Mac.
Oh, the Mac's going to die. But yeah, he's a very athletic tight end, and they kind of used him like a chess piece almost, so I'm excited for him, and I'm excited for Burks, and I think they're going to learn a lot from Hopkins, and yeah, I mean, I think Tannehill's got some of the best weapons he's had in a while.
Okonkwo was good as a rookie. He played 37% of snaps amongst all tight ends to run 100 or more routes. He was first in yards per route run at 2.63 and second in targets per route run. However, he was 47th in run blocking grade at PFF amongst all tight ends. And if you're going to be an offense in which your general manager literally says, quote, "It's cute and sexy to play Golden State Warriors football in September and October when the weather is good.
I will give you a counter to that.
But the teams that play in January play tough defense and run the football."
I will give you a counter to that. That is why they went out and got Trayvon Wesco. Tight end used to be on the Jets, played a lot of fullback for us. He's a blocking specialist.
Fair.
So I think that's why they went out and got him.
But it could limit Okonkwo's.
I agree. I think they'll run a lot of
like fantasy wise.
Yeah, but I think there'll be a lot of two tight end sets for that scenario, because obviously with a guy like Derrick Henry, you're going to be running the ball a lot, and you want to get as many blockers on the field. And I think Wesco is going to have a bigger role than people expect in terms of blocking and blocking only. But he is one of the better blocking tight ends in the league, and he has experience at fullback, so I think that'll be huge for them. And I think they had to do that because, like you highlighted, their line is still one of the worst in the league, even with adding Skoronski.
It is one of the worst in the league. And teams stack the box 84% of the time when Henry's on the field. That is
when is that from? Just last year?
Yeah, 84% of the time.
Don't you think that number's a little inflated though because of the games with Malik Willis and Josh Dobbs?
It doesn't.
I'm just saying.
No, it's like anytime Henry's on the field, teams stack the box. That's like historically. And they have had a bottom 5 pass.
I thought you said it was 84%.
I read like 17 different stats about how when on first down it's like 90+% that teams stack the box when Henry's on the field. Like it's year after year after year, and they know the Titans are going to run the ball, and the Titans still run the ball. They have a bottom 5 pass rate.
I'm just saying the number's a little skewed, I think, from the fact when Willis and Dobbs were in there. I mean, that's 5 games where you have a guy that...
This is a historical stat. I mean, the Titans just run the ball. They ran the ball at the second highest rate on first down last year.
I mean, it makes sense.
But they had a top 3 passing offense on first down because everyone stacks the box. Yeah. I mean, they got to use more play action. But I don't think
teams are going to be able to stack the box as much this year because I think we're both assuming Burks takes a step forward. And obviously adding DeAndre Hopkins, if he can stay healthy, I think it's going to make it harder for teams to stack the box.
I mean, they still stack the box when they had A.J. Brown, so... I think it's going to happen. And if you're,
they had
if you're
AJ
relying,
Brown and who though?
I think if you're relying,
AJ Brown and who though?
I mean, fair. I mean, they have DeAndre Hopkins, who's 31, and a second-year receiver that put up 450 yards last year. I mean, still.
I think you would have had.
They still
yeah,
have
but
one
I
of the
think
worst
Burks would
receiving
have had
groups in football. They still have one of the worst
I
offensive
agree,
lines in football.
but I think Burks would have had a better year if he stayed healthy. And
100%. I do like Traylon Burks. I have him in
towards the
Dynasty.
end.
I actually have some stats.
Think about a lot of his production at the end came with Dobbs too.
He turned in games of 7 catches for 111 yards and then 4 catches for 70 yards in weeks 11 and 12. Then caught a 25-yard touchdown in week 13, and that's when he got a concussion on the touchdown. And then once he came back, it was like
The Josh
Dobbs and
Dobbs
Willis, and it was done. So I think Burks could be a sneaky pick in fantasy this year, and I'd like him more for Dynasty. I do like his yak ability. He was good at Arkansas. I think he kind of fits this offense well, especially working play action over the middle of the field.
Well, we saw what AJ Brown was able to do here, and he kind of fits a similar profile and mold.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I'm just overall worried about an offense with this week of an offensive line, a quarterback that's clearly old and on the decline, and a running back that has 1,900 carries under his belt.
well, I just don't want to count out
29 years old.
Vrabel. It just seems like he's always been able to.
They are. They're a tough team. That's why I have them 8 and 9. I don't think they're going to be terrible. The over-under 7.5. I still have them at the over.
I think that line's really low. I know how hard the AFC as a whole is going to be, but I think 7.5 is very low. And I don't think this defense is bad either. I think they got a lot of guys there still. I mean, they still have Jeffrey Simmons and Kevin Byard. I mean,
Simmons is the beast. He signed
those
a
are 2
4-year,
of the best guys
$94
at their
million
position.
extension. Yeah, he is one of the best at the position. 7.5 sacks, 14 quarterback.
I mean, you can make a case that he's the best D tackle in the league.
No,
I'm not saying he is, but you can make
he's
a case
5.
for it.
He's top 5.
I mean, obviously, you still got to always give it to
Donald's
Donald.
better. Chris Jones is better. And then you can argue Dexter, Quinnen, and Jeffrey in any order.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate it. I think that's the top 5.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Kevin Byard is one of the best safeties out there, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
so, and I mean, Harold Landry's not bad at all either, so we'll see. I mean, they got some guys on this line.
He tore his ACL, missed all of last year. He had
Mhm.
12 sacks and 22 quarterback hits in 2021. Again, though, I just think this team's old. I just think their time's gone. I think they're on the decline. I don't think they can keep up with these high-powered offenses in the AFC.
I think
and
this
yeah.
is their winner-go-home year. I think this is
Yeah.
the
I mean,
last
they're
year
going to run
before
the
they
ball.
blow it up.
They're going to run the ball. They're going to play good defense. They're going to play close games. But I don't think down the stretch in the fourth quarter you can rely on Tannehill's arm to win you games.
We'll see. We will see. I don't know. I just really can't see this team falling apart yet. I still think Derrick Henry has a lot left in the tank.
I also hate their secondary, dude.
Why?
Caleb Farley just cannot stay healthy. That's what happened to him at VT. He's like teetering bust potential. Roger McCreary was a rookie last year out of Auburn. He was one of the least targeted outside corners, but he was still 68th in adjusted yards allowed per covered snap. Sean Murphy Bunting, they brought him to play the slot, but there's a reason the Bucs let him go. He wasn't good last year. Christian Fulton took a step back. The Titans had a bottom 6 pass defense last year. Fulton was 58th among outside corners in the yards allowed per covered snap. They don't have a good secondary. They have an old offense. Unproven offensive line. I don't like Tannehill. I think it might catch up to him this year. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised though if he's still running.
It's hard to write him off.
For
He's just
13,
showed no
1,400
signs of
yards.
He's shown no signs of slowing down. I mean, I guess slowing down from the peak he was
He's
at.
not
but
explosive.
He was still at 4.4 a carry. I mean, that's still really good.
It is good. It is
Like,
good.
I don't know. As long as Henry's healthy and he's still running the ball like that, it's hard to count this team out. I mean, I don't know.
Agree to disagree, brother. I have them 8 and 9. Not terrible, but I think this window is closing. I still believe in Mike Vrabel will keep his team competitive, but I don't know.
What do you think? Who's their MVP then? Henry, in your opinion? Because
It's got to be Henry. I mean, if Henry goes down, this team's screwed. I mean, they went 0-9 against playoff teams last year, and they play 7 of them this year. They didn't beat any.
Yeah.
They didn't. I mean, they all have easy schedules division because they all have to play each other. But like, if they play any good teams, I don't really trust them to win those games.
Yeah.
And they could have beat the Chiefs last year, but
Who's your X factor?
the X factor, I have the entire offensive line. I mean,
Really?
It's just a terrible line. I mean, Andre Dillard, do you really trust him? I mean, he got beat out by Mulata, who ends up being, a very good left tackle. But Dillard was picked very early in the draft, never lived up to the Eagles, and they just produce offensive linemen. They all seem to develop well under him. I don't believe in him. Skoronski's a rookie. Yeah, I think he'll be good, but to expect a rookie to come in and really change that offensive line, I think it's difficult.
My X factor's Tannehill. I mean, I know that's an easy one to say, but I think if he plays to what he's done before and continues to be that winning quarterback here, I mean, 37-20, I'm going to keep highlighting that. He wins games for this team, so that's why I think he's their X factor. Because also, if you put someone else in there, they're not going to be close to that. Like, if they switch over to Will Levis, this could be the worst team in football. Like, I genuinely believe that because I think that's how bad this team really is and how much they really need Ryan Tannehill.
I just think Tannehill's a game manager, and he'll just run.
And that's all. But that's all he needs to do.
Henry, but
that's all he needs to do. I'm
at
not
some
saying
point
it's,
these carries are going to catch up to Henry.
Yeah. Well, I just don't think it's going to be this year. I think they still got one more decent year left.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think 8-9 is decent. You have an 11 and 6. That's better.
I mean,
than
8 and 9.
decent.
You
That's
obviously
better than decent.
You obviously have them competing for the division. I just looked through their schedule and I just really thought they could go 11 and 6.
Yeah, I think the rookie of the year is clearly Skoronski. If he is bad as a rookie, I mean, they lost their starting right guard Nate Davis to Chicago.
Yeah.
If Skoronski can't stabilize one of the guard spots, this team is in big trouble, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I said Skoronski too, just because
We don't
where
think
they
Levis
drafted
is
him.
going to... I mean, maybe Levis sees the field, but if he sees
I don't
the
think
field,
he sees the field at all. So for me, I can't say that
I don't think he'll
because
see
I'm just saying it how I see the season playing out, and I don't see him touching the field at all. So I can't say Levis.
Yeah,
Levis is someone you could say, but I think even if they do switch to him, I think he's going to struggle. I don't think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah, I think barring injuries,
Like
he will
you
not
said,
see
they have
the
a
field.
tough schedule, and you think Levis is going to come out and
Well, they have a
really
tough schedule
win
to
them
start
games.
the year, then they have a bye. So if they're really down, maybe they give the kid a shot. But even if they do, I think he's going to have growing pains. I don't think he's going to be successful. I don't believe him as a long-term starter either.
Yeah.
And then Tajay Spears, he was very good at Tulane. He had a couple of knee procedures, so his long-term upside, we don't know if he's going to hold up health-wise. But he looked good in the preseason. He's a slasher. He's got a different style than Henry. Check out his Tulane highlights. They're actually a lot of fun to watch, but he's behind Derrick Henry. He has no path to see the field. It's got to be Skoronski.
You could be used in the receiving game.
Yeah, I guess.
Because they don't want to use Derrick Henry as the receiver. They had to last year because of injuries. Hey guys, sorry to take a quick break from the pod, but if you guys don't mind just pausing the video and liking the video real quick, we really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. Thank you.
Blast off!
Welcome back to Around the Felt. We're going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts next. Reagan, what are your expectations for them this season?
My expectations are as low as it gets. I have them going 4-13. I think they're going to suck. I think your boy Anthony Richardson is going to be very bad. And I don't like to hate on players. I just don't think he's going to show a lot in this year one. I think he's going to struggle a lot. I think he's a project. We both know that. I think he's a project, and I think that's going to be shown. I think this Colts team's really doesn't have a lot of talent at this point. I mean, obviously they have Jonathan Taylor, but they're messing around with him. So if they lose him, it's going to get even worse. I mean, if they lose Jonathan Taylor, that might be a 0-win to him, to be honest. But yeah, not a lot to say here outside of they're going to suck, and I really think Anthony Richardson's going to struggle a lot. And I think they're going to do the wrong thing in not starting Gardner Minshew and letting Richardson learn more. I think we already kind of saw it in one preseason game, and yes, I know it's preseason. But I think he showed a lot in that, and the fact that he struggled a lot. It was the fact that I didn't like what I saw, dude.
Game show host.
Did you see that pass he made? I mean, come on.
I'm not talking about the pass. I'm talking about what the fuck you just said.
I know it's pretty.
I digress. Dude, no, but honestly, that pass he made, that if that's what it's going to be like with him making a lot of passes, like he thinks he's still in the SEC in college football, where he can just run around the field and make these plays, it's not going to work. All right, it's not going to work. I mean, what was that? Did you know the play I'm talking about, where he literally just
it was an interception. Yeah,
I mean, and I that's what I see this happening a lot this year. I think he's going to try to force a lot, and I think he's going to try to overextend a lot, and I don't think he's going to throw the ball out of bounds when he should. I think he's going to try to force passes or force runs, and unfortunately, I think he might get injured if he tries to do that.
Before I talk about Richardson, I do want to say I feel bad for Frank Reich as a head coach because each year their quarterback just got worse and worse and worse. And when you go from Luck, shout out Marty, to Brissett, who was his backup, you don't have an option. But then you bring in Rivers, you win 11 games. I mean, that was pretty good, but it's pretty clear the defense and the running game carried Rivers. He was pretty washed at that point.
Wait, you actually feel bad for him that he had Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, and Carson Wentz, 3 guys that have all been MVP candidates in their career? I don't feel that bad.
Wentz was
he may have
washed.
Sucked, but I mean,
Wentz was terrible, dude. He was awful. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league when he had it.
Terrible.
And then Matt Ryan was terrible too last year.
Come on, Wentz was
You never gave him a fair shot. You just keep getting
I don't know.
You just keep getting these washed-up quarterbacks that you're just trading for washed-up quarterbacks.
But why do you feel bad for Wright? I'd say that's more of an issue on
because
Wright.
they never gave him a rookie quarterback that he could build around. He's shown he could work with quarterbacks, but you never gave him a rookie quarterback that you could build around where you could build a roster around.
They also had that talented defense and that talented
But when you're trading for quarterbacks that are vets like that, clearly they're not that good because their team wouldn't trade them if they were good. and you're trading for a quarterback that already has a high cap hit because they're not in that rookie deal. So then it limits how much you could build around that team. So, no, I do feel bad for him that he got terrible quarterback play. You keep getting washed up vets that teams are like, this guy's terrible. Clearly, he's never going to get better. We've already seen his peak. Let's get rid of him for something. And all the Colts did was trade away a ton of draft capital to get it done. So that's why your roster is pretty depleted now.
But that's why they went out and drafted the quarterback.
They
Wouldn't it
finally
make sense
did
to
the
bring
year after
Anthony
he's
Richardson into the roster they had before? No.
Well, it would make more sense when you actually had an offensive line that was productive.
Yeah, but they also had a time window. They had to go out and try to get that veteran quarterback. We see teams all the time taking risks on veteran quarterbacks. It didn't work out with them.
It's not like you're getting Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, dude. You're getting washed up Phillip Rivers. We knew it was
Phillip Rivers still got him into the
Matt
playoffs.
Ryan, he was
Phillip Rivers still got him into the playoffs.
Matt Ryan was washed up. Carson Wentz was terrible.
You're just saying Carson Wentz is terrible because you're a Giants fan.
No, he's one of the most inaccurate quarterbacks in football.
Fan.
His last year for the Eagles, he was terrible. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. He was one of the most. He was probably the most inaccurate quarterback in football. Everyone knows Carson Wentz sucks.
All right. I'm done. We're wasting too much time on Frank Wright. Let's move on.
I'm just saying.
Wasting way too much time.
But I have them at 5-12. I don't think it's going to be a great team by any stretch of the means. Their offensive line was 32nd in ESPN's pass block win rate a season ago. Not good. Granted, Anthony Richardson's rushing ability and able to get outside the pocket can kind of hide some of that. I think it's going to be a similar situation with Justin Fields and the Bears last year, where he was sacked at the highest rate in the league, but he still ran for 1,000 yards because they didn't really have any other options for them to get yardage. So I think it's going to be a similar thing. The left tackle, Bernard Raymond, I believe he's out of Central Michigan. He was 28th amongst left tackles in pressure rate allowed. That's awful. Quentin Nelson was not himself. We all know that. He was one of the best guards in football, 3-year All-Pro, and last year just kind of, fell off a cliff. I don't know what happened there.
Last year was a shit show, in fairness.
It was. They had the 4th most expensive line in the NFL last year. Matt Ryan just got absolutely destroyed. He got hit the most of his entire career last year until he separated his shoulder and was done.
Yep.
And they also had the 2nd healthiest offensive line last year. So it's not like it was the backups that were getting destroyed. It was their starters. So that's not good. And I'm worried. And their run game obviously got worse as well. Part of it was the offensive line, but also part of it was JT. He had the bum ankle. You could tell that was an issue. He was 39th in EPA per rush and 37th in success rate last year with the ankle, with the poor offensive line, after he was the best back in the league the year before. Will he bounce back? I don't know. I'm worried about the ankle because he is already getting treatment for that ankle, and now we all know about the infamous contract dispute with the Colts and going back and forth with Jim Irsay. I mean, that's a shit show. I don't know.
Like I said a couple weeks ago, I don't know what to believe with anything with Jonathan Taylor, so I'm just under the belief he'll be ready to go week 1 and he's going to have a great year. There's so many reports coming out right now, it's so hard to believe what's real, what's false. I mean, we're not in those locker rooms. We don't really know what's truly going on with him. And the amount of reports that come out with this guy the past couple weeks, it's hard to believe any of it or know what to believe and what's false. So I'm just kind of playing it by a wait-and-see approach to see what happens over the next couple weeks. I will say, though, I really do like their wide receiver core, and I think it's underrated. I mean, they went out and got Isaiah McKenzie, who was on the Bills. He's decent in the slot. They drafted Josh Downs, also a slot receiver, and they took him in the 3rd round. Michael Pittman, honestly, is a really good receiver. He's shown a lot of flashes, and I think he could be a big reason.
Overrated.
You think he's overrated? Why?
He only had 3 catches of 15 more yards downfield last season. You got to show he's more of a downfield threat, more of a playmaker. Everyone expecting that jump last year.
I feel like with Wentz, he had a lot of downfield catches.
Well, that's why everyone thought he was going to be better than he was, but last year he wasn't great. Alex Pierce was as a rookie.
But don't you think part of that is the fact that their line struggled so much that there wasn't enough
it's part of it. The whole offense was terrible.
Yeah.
But, you got to put some of the blame on the receivers. They clearly weren't getting open enough. We were expecting Pittman to take a jump. I don't know. I did have high hopes for Pittman.
Or Alec Pierce, not Alex Pierce.
I don't know. I don't think he'll ever be, a legitimate player. I think his ceiling is a solid wide receiver, too. I do like Josh Downs, though. He was productive out of the slot at UNC. He had a 6.1% catch rate above expected.
Well, he was Drake May's guy.
Of the class. He was. He doesn't have elite athletic traits, and he's not a big guy. Doesn't have the physical tools, but the guy just gets open and makes tough catches. I do like that pick, especially in the 3rd round. I thought that was good value.
I'd say he has a clear, not a clear path, but I wouldn't say Isaiah McKenzie's this insane slot receiver that he can't overtake him.
McKenzie's nothing special. I don't know. I think this is a bottom 10 receiver unit in the league, and I don't think that's debatable.
Yeah, probably not.
It clearly is.
You think it? No, I'm saying it's probably
10.
not debatable.
It's bottom 10. Yeah, it's definitely bottom 10, which is not good for a rookie quarterback, especially for an offensive line that the previous couple years was really good, but was terrible last year. So I have high hopes for Richardson fantasy-wise just because of his rushing, but like actual production-wise and throwing the football with this receiver core, especially if Jonathan Taylor's not 100% and back to who he is, I do think this offense struggles.
Well, I kind of see this team being in a similar spot to the Bears of last year where, they got their quarterback, but they end up being the worst team in the league, and that'll bode well for them. Even if they're a bottom two team, I mean, then they can trade out, because one of those teams is going to want to go up and get Caleb Williams, and the other one's going to want to go up and get Drake May. So I think that can benefit them.
Yeah, I think 6.5 is a pretty
high
bold win total. That was the Bears' win total last year.
Yeah. I feel pretty safe in saying that they win.
Yeah, they go under. I have them at 5, but I wouldn't be surprised if they won 3 or 4.
No, when I was doing the schedule, I felt like 4 was even high for them.
Yeah, they do have the third easiest schedule in football, though, so that could be a factor. But then again, their defense didn't get any better. They lost Yannick Ngakoue, they lost Bobby Okereke, and they lost Stephon Gilmore. Those are 3 big pieces on that defense.
Yeah, one at every level. And on top of that, it's still Anthony. The dude's a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, you have a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. It's very difficult to come in.
Yeah, we didn't even get into that part. That it's a rookie head coach.
I will say, if there's any coach that, the first year head coach, you feel confident developing a quarterback, Steichen was probably the guy for Richardson because he did such a phenomenal job in aiding the development of Jalen Hurts, and we saw his passing game take that next step. Granted, he'd take that second jump when they got him a bona fide number one wide receiver in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith develops. It's going to take time. Richardson will be a good runner this year. I think they're going to have to invest draft capital and weapons around him for him to really take that next step and reach that ceiling, which I think his ceiling is a top 3 quarterback in this league. That's how insane his physical traits are.
Who do we think starts week 1? Do you even think... I think
Richardson. The way they've openly talked about the fact that they want him to get snaps and Irsay's you don't have your guy sitting on the sidelines. They just seem so open about it that they're we're not going to be a good team anyways. Let's let the kid take his lumps and just get reps.
I think
he only started 1 full season in college. But he would come in...
it would be a mistake to start him right away.
I
think they will start him, but I just feel like they're just throwing him out to the wolves. Honestly, I don't know, man.
We talked about it earlier, how he's an absolute freak. He's 6'4", 244.
He's a freak, but he played 1 year at college.
4.43, had the best ever vertical and broad jump for any quarterback at the Combine, and he had the second best speed score adjusted for a player's size in Combine history behind RG3. So those are certainly great traits. I mean, he's got a phenomenal arm. He's got one of the strong, probably top 10.
Just to me, it's throwing him out the first 2 games of the season, Jaguars and Texans. You're going to throw him out division games. I know obviously the Texans aren't a scary team, but it's still a division game. You really want to throw him out against 2 division mates in the first 2 weeks of the season, and then they got to go play in Baltimore. I don't know. To me, I'd let Minshew play the first 3, and then you got a home game against the Rams. Let him sit and learn for the first 3 weeks. Minshew will probably go 1-2, and then you switch over to him.
I don't know. I think you give him reps. I think starting Minshew doesn't really help. I think you let the kid take his lumps, and you let him experience NFL defenses, and you see what you got.
Yeah.
They had the worst offense in the league last year, so it can't get much worse.
That's true. Who even knows how big of a... I don't know. The whole... I just don't have a lot of hopes for this team, but we can get more into the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they had a 29.8% pressure rate a season ago, and they allowed 47.3% success rate on dropbacks, which were both bottom 10 in the league. And then you lose Stephon Gilmore, Bobby Okereke, who was top 10 in tackles, and Yannick Ngakoue. That's not a recipe for success.
I do want to highlight the corner they got, though, Juju Brents from Kansas State. I'm excited for him.
He's got the traits. He's 6'3".
Like I was saying, I love those traits.
Like those tradey corners?
Because, dude, it's been proven, or I shouldn't say it's been proven because it's not a huge track record, but look at last year. Sauce and Woolen are these big corners, and they were by far the best 2 corners in the draft. I really feel like this is a new era. We're going to see if corners
they're going to need him. He's starting right away. That secondary has no depth.
Well, when you lose a starter, Isaiah Rodgers obviously getting suspended for the year because of gambling.
It's not good.
So obviously it's going to help him. And I have Brents as my rookie of the year of this team because, you probably want to say Richardson, but I think Brents is going to have a bigger impact on the team because, I think long-term Richardson's going to be the better player, but right now I think Richardson's going to struggle a lot, and I think Brent's going to fit in well in the NFL. I really like that mold.
It's funny.
They invested the capital in him, too, so...
I got it, Reagan.
You got it? All right, so I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little nitpicky by saying Brent's is the rookie of the year on this team, but I'm high on him, dude. I really am.
He wasn't necessarily that productive in college. Like Darius Rush, the corner they took out of South Carolina in the 5th round, was actually more productive, but he doesn't have the physical tools that Brent's does. So he went
I just love,
higher.
I just love the physical tools of it. I mean, and when you're at that size, like, it's also nice in the tackling game. Like, you want a bigger guy that can go up and make tackles. Like, when you're on the outside like that, and you got Derrick Henry in this division getting a halfback toss to the outside, you want a big guy that can go up and make a tackle potentially.
That's fair.
So.
I do like this defensive front. They're one of the best at stopping the run. Buckner remains an elite interior defensive
Kwity
player.
Paye's good as well.
Nah, Kwity Paye's. He's Well, I mean, for a first-round pick, you'd like to see more.
Yeah, but he's only
he
going
had
in
10
year
quarterback. He's only has 10 quarterback hits in his previous two seasons, but he did miss several games last year. I think he only played 10 or 11. So I mean, still, you'd rather see more of those pressures turn into sacks and quarterback hits, especially for a first-round pick. But they have Grover Stewart on the interior as well. He was 9th in ESPN's run-stop win rate, 17 run stuffs. And then you didn't even have Shaq Leonard last year. He played 3 games. Now he's back, and he's one of the elite linebackers in this league. So I like that. You lost Okereke, but Zaire Franklin actually played really well stepping in for Leonard. He was one of the best in pass coverage.
And that's probably why they let Okereke.
Yeah, that's probably why they were
to
fine
the
letting him
Giants.
go. I don't even know if they had a lot of cap space, but I mean, Okereke was top 10 in tackles, but Zaire Franklin played well. He's a young player. They're like, all right, that's fine. You know, we don't want to invest money in a linebacker right now. We have so many holes in this roster. It's smart. It's a smart team building approach.
Yeah.
So I get it. Secondary is very young and unproven. Kenny Moore is back though. He's the vet. He was unproductive and injured last year. We'll see if he can help get these rookies in line.
Dude, the more we talk about it, I like this.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna have less than 5 wins actually.
I wouldn't even be like, honestly, like, I mean, we rarely ever see teams not win a game, but like.
You would actually think they could go winless.
I feel like they could go winless.
I think they at least beat Houston once.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like when we go over Houston, I feel like Houston's just a lot more talented than they are.
Well, we go right into Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, outside of like, who's your MVP for this team? Like
Jonathan Taylor. I mean, if he can run the ball like he did 2 years ago, then there's a path from the win.
I mean, my MVP was Leonard, just because of the fact he is the leader of that defense, and if he's playing well and can get the defense to rally around him, maybe they get a couple wins. And,
that's fair. He's my depoy, so that's fair.
Well, yeah, obviously be my depoy as well. My X Factor's Pittman, just because of what he can be and what we've seen flashes of. I mean, if he can step up and get into the top 20 wide receiver conversation, he can be a huge guy to help Richardson develop, because if you can have a guy that's always getting separation one-on-one, it'll be huge for Richardson. So I have him as the X factor for the offense, because I think for Jonathan, we already kind of know what Jonathan Taylor is, and I think Jonathan Taylor at his best doesn't really change much for this team, and they're going to need someone else like Pittman to step up.
That's
Because
fair.
I think Jonathan Taylor being good doesn't really. I mean, it'll obviously help Richardson as a passer, but I mean, if his wide
it
receivers
doesn't
aren't
raise the ceiling.
yeah.
And also,
So.
if Pittman can develop into that true number one, it helps the development of Richardson
Yeah,
significantly.
that's kind of how I look
Which could
at
really
it.
help the team. So I get that. I mean, I had Richardson. If he can come in as a rookie and be productive, then this team will win games. But if you expect those rookie struggles, then this team's going to be really bad.
Yeah. So we'll see. But, yeah, so I'm ready to... I think that's enough for them. I'm ready to get into the Texans now, who I'm actually... I wouldn't say super high on, but I have the Texans winning 7 games.
The win total is 6.5. You have them
Yeah.
winning 7 games. That's ridiculous. I have them. At
I don't know how
13.
that could be
They're
ridiculous.
terrible.
I mean, the fact that Vegas has a line at 6.5
They're
tells you
terrible.
something.
Okay, and they have the Colts for 6.5, and you just said they can go winless. So you can't play both.
Vegas is wrong there and right here. When it supports my argument, I think
That makes
Vegas
sense.
is right. Yeah,
That
I
makes
mean, when it
sense.
supports
Okay.
me, I fuck with it. But when it doesn't support me, I don't
Okay.
fuck with it. You know.
Houston has had a bottom 3 offense the past 2 seasons.
Yes.
Their passing attack had the 3rd worst accuracy rate, 5th worst completion rate a year ago. So clearly they needed to go quarterback. And it was weird when there was a lot of rumors of them at number 2 not going quarterback. They ended up taking Stroud at 2 and then trading up to 3, which I thought was a very bold move, giving up their first-round pick next year to get Will Anderson, because I think this is going to be a terrible team. I think it's going to be a top 5 pick.
It is, but it isn't, because then when you think about it, it's like they're giving up their first-round pick next year because they know, like, even if they suck, they weren't going to take a quarterback. So they must just love Will Anderson that much more than the prospect.
Because they also gave up their second-round pick this year.
I know, they did
It
give
was
up a
an
lot.
absolute
They did give up a lot.
It was
They
a
did.
phenomenal trade from Arizona.
But if Will Anderson is what people think he'll be, it won't matter. Like if he comes out, like obviously this year he's not going to be one of the best pass rushers, but if he comes out and shows flashes of, hey, this guy could end up being a 15 sack per year guy, then it's all worth it.
Yeah,
Only time will
if
tell
he's
with
a
that
stud,
trade.
it's worth it. Yeah, but also if that pick ends up being second in the draft and a team wanted to move up and give you a haul for a quarterback where you could have moved back and still gotten a guy like Brock Bowers or Marvin Harrison Jr. or like an elite player, then, we'll see.
I think this team's more talented than you think, and I think D'Amico Ryan was an excellent hire. I mean, clearly he's one of the best defensive minds out there. I mean, the 49ers defense was insane with him as a coordinator. And I like his mindset a lot. I mean, he seems like he's good with the media, and he seems like a guy that the players want to play for and rally behind. He's kind of got that Vrabel-type coaching philosophy I see. So, I don't know. I think their offensive line's not bad. I mean, Tunsil's still one of the better ones. They went out and got George Fant, who was pretty good for the Jets. I mean, Tyus Howard, quarterback in college. Cool story, I guess. But and then Shaq Mason's not bad either. So I think their line's better than you think, and they went out and got...
I think it's average to below average, I'd say.
But
line. Titus Howard was 23rd out of 32 right tackles in pressure rate allowed last year. I mean, Shaq Mason, his 1 year without playing with Tom Brady, who, like we talked about in the previous episode, he gets the ball out quick and kind of hides a lot of problems with the offensive line. That 1 year without Brady, he was bad. So, we'll see. I do like Tunsil. He's one of the top left tackles in football. So that's fair.
No, dude, I don't think you understand. Like, I know a lot about Fant just because watching the Jets, like, he was very good for us. So I think even if Howard ends up like you're saying, like he has some flaws in him, I think Fant can slide right in. And also the fact that they went out and got Dalton Schultz, I think, is huge because I think he's a very good tight end.
He's solid. I like him.
I mean, he's by far their best option right now. I'd say he's probably their best pass catcher.
Just to touch on the offensive line, though, dude. I mean, they were 27th in ESPN's run block win rate a year ago. Their running game was dead last in expected points added per rush, 30th in success rate, 31st in yards per carry, 31st in runs of 10-plus yards, and 32nd in yards before contact per carry. They're better pass pro offensive line than they are in the run game. I guess that's a good and bad thing because, you're going to give Stroud more time as a rookie. That helps. They're really trying to solidify that offensive line in front of them.
And it is hard to use
stats off of and use play action off of. It makes it more difficult.
It's hard to use stats from last year, though, and it was the same with the Colts. It is hard to use stats from last year when you change the coach.
And you change the quarterback. That's fair because no team was scared of that passing attack. But then again, I don't think any team's going to be scared of this passing attack with these receivers.
We just know it's going to be new play calling coming in with the new quarterback. So it is hard. And they did go out and get, for as inefficient as the running was, they did go out and get Devin Singletary, who, when he got the touches, he was pretty efficient. He just never really got the opportunity in Buffalo. He was splitting carries with Zach Moss. In Buffalo's identity, they want to pass the ball, and I don't blame them. When you have a guy like Josh Allen, why would you want to hand it to the running back? I think if you look at Devin Singletary's numbers, he's pretty efficient, But we'll see because it's a lot easier to be efficient in an offense with Josh Allen as your quarterback than it is with C.J. Stroud as your quarterback.
That's fair. They did play the 20th most difficult schedule in the league last year, and they still only won 3 games. So, even with a weak schedule, they were terrible. But
I mean, look how many guys are going to be plugging into the starting lineup this year.
Yeah, but they're young and a rookie head coach. It's just so difficult for a team with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback to be successful.
I'm saying 7 wins. I'm not sitting out here saying playoffs.
I got 4 and 13. I think 7 is a little bold, especially because there's still so many holes in this roster.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the defensive side of things. What are you thinking? I mean, obviously Will Anderson's a huge out. They went out and got Sheldon Rankins, who's a veteran. I mean, he's a guy that can go out there. They got Malik Collins, so they got some veteran D tackles. Jerry Hughes is there too now. I mean,
he's 34. He did have 9 sacks last season.
But it is good. I mean,
I like Jonathan Grenard. Go Gators.
It does bode well for Will Anderson having all those veterans who have had success in the league, though.
Yeah, I mean they're actually a pretty old team.
No, I mean Denzel Perryman too. He's an older linebacker. I mean,
they were the 7th oldest roster last year.
Yeah,
and they had $77 million in dead cap thanks to Deshaun Watson. And
I mean, Jimmy Ward's up there. Steven Nelson's up there in age.
I mean, I think Derek Stingley. Yeah, he's got to show up this year because if you're going to pass on Sauce Gardner, who was an All-Pro as a rookie, and you take Stingley, will he ever live up to what he was his freshman year at LSU?
Yeah, well, they passed on
Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson every day. I mean,
they passed on Hutchinson too.
Yeah, I mean,
and Thibodeau.
Hutchinson went 2nd. Stingley went 3rd.
Oh, well, they passed on Sauce. Yeah.
They passed on Sauce. I mean, Stingley allowed the 8th most receiving yards per coverage snap in the league last year. Yeah. That is not what you want to see when you take a guy 3rd overall.
And like you said, it doesn't help when the guy after you just doesn't allow anything. We might be having a different feeling if Sauce wasn't what he was, and say Sauce sucked. I feel like we'd be giving him less criticism, but the fact that the guy behind him was so good and was an all-pro, it's really easy to nitpick.
I mean, Sauce was definitely more NFL ready than Stingley because Stingley did sit out a whole year.
Yeah.
But still.
And it's crazy to say that because, I mean, Stingley's in the SEC. It's like Sauce was in the American Athletic Conference. I mean, they're a lot different, too.
That's a good point.
But, I mean, obviously Steven Nelson has... All right. I mean, at this point, I don't know. I didn't even know Jimmy Ward switched to safety. I thought he was still a corner.
Yeah. I mean, they did bring in veterans at linebacker, too. D'Amico Ryan loves his linebackers. Yep. Obviously, Fred Warner was an absolute stud for him in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He brought in Denzel Perryman and Corey Littleton. They're just plugging holes just for this year. I mean, D'Amico's going to spot out his guys. I do like your point of D'Amico Ryans. People around the league are very high on him. I do think he has what it takes to be a legitimate head coach in this league, but I just think it's going to take time. I think only 35% of rookie quarterbacks that started, they've won only 35% of their games since 2000. I mean, it's just a crazy stat. I think a rookie head coach, same thing with the Colts, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, you can't expect them to win a ton of games. It's just too difficult. And this defense is not great. The offensive line is not great in the run game. So will Pierce take another step forward? I don't know.
I don't think so. I honestly, low-key, I feel like he could be like a James Robinson type where it's just like a lot of production early on and then he just falls off heavily.
It was weird because last year, I think it was up to week 9 or 10. He was 5th in the league in rushing yards, and then
he had so much volume.
He had so much volume, but for fantasy-wise, he didn't have anything PPR.
I'm telling you.
And then he kind of had a couple really bad games and then got hurt, and it was it was.
I'm telling you right now, dude. I am telling you right now. Devin Singletary is going to get more touches.
I mean, if he couldn't really take over that backfield in Buffalo, I doubt he's going to do it in Houston.
I'm telling you, he's going to be the lead back there.
I don't think he's good at all.
We'll see. Only time will tell. But, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about this team. I mean, maybe it's because I'm running out of steam, but I don't know. With this whole division, it's tough. I mean, I think this whole division has one playoff team. I think it's the Titans. You think it's the Jaguars. I mean, both of us really don't think the Texans or Colts are going to be good. And if I'm a little high on the Texans at 7 wins, I mean, that's just because I have more faith in D'Amico Ryan and the picks they went out and got.
Yeah, I mean, I got them 4-13. I think they'd be terrible. I think they're a year away from trying to push for a playoff spot.
All right, well, we'll see.
We should make a bet on who wins the division, Jaguars or Titans, because I think we're pretty confident the Colts and the Texans.
I'm pretty confident the Titans are going to win the division.
I'm pretty confident the Jaguars are. So.
All right, buddy.
What do you want to make the bet?
Oh, you got any ideas, Joe or Zach?
I feel like it would have been nice to do the Will Levis coffee for this.
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Even though
yeah.
I would have won the bet if Will Levis even touched the field.
Yeah.
Well, how about we'll think of something.
Yeah, we'll think of something.
Man, does Anthony Richardson eat anything weird? Or
he probably does some cool workouts. You should try doing some of the weight heat squats.
Yeah. How about the loser can't cut their hair until it gets to Trevor Lawrence length?
That's awful, dude. No, we're not doing that. We'll think of something.
All right. Well, I have the Titans. He has the Jaguars. Loser's gonna have to do something. We'll put out a whole list of all the different bets once we figure them out.
We have a huge list going.
Yeah, we do. All right, so we're going to take another break, and then we're going to get into our final segment, the trivia, led by you guys and Joe.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, it's the man behind the camera, also the one that runs trivia. If you could, we send out a link for the sheets. Just fill it out. If you got any questions for us, trivia questions, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Good?
Yep.
All
right. Welcome back in. It's time for trivia.
Best segment of the day. Let's go.
These questions are submitted by you guys, and Joe has come up with a few. So let's get into it. Joe, what do you got for us? Who's starting?
Oh, all right. Before we start, I want to address, there was a question from a name Matt Scherf, and the question was, who is the player that was drafted last year by the Jaguars? And he said it was Trevor Lawrence, which just isn't true.
Yeah, it was Trayvon Walker. Scherf. I mean, appreciate sending the questions, but if you're gonna do it, put a little bit more effort in.
I appreciate you trying to understand football.
Yeah.
But.
No, I'm gonna look straight at you. This is a very serious podcast, so if you're not gonna take it serious at all, we don't want you to listen to this podcast.
Who knows more ball, Scherf or Jake?
Yeah, no, Matt Sheriff, that's not cool. If you were trying to be
Or
funny,
Luke. Like,
if you were,
he's on
yeah,
Luke, too.
yeah. I mean, what's going on here tonight? Matt,
He's gonna redeem himself with this.
we might
trivia
have to
question now.
have we might have to have Matt Sheriff and Luke Martirana come on here for the battle of the casuals. And they can debate why Trevor Lawrence and Andrew Luck. They can debate their takes to each other.
All right, so to start off, we got a question from Jared Crampton down in
Okay,
North
Crampton.
Carolina.
Who's this for?
So you won last time.
You won last time.
so
You go
get picked.
first. This is a big
Yeah.
one for me.
I'll
I'm
go
down
first.
2-1.
Okay,
Can't wait to go up 3-1.
we're gonna start out easy, and then we're gonna get a little crazy. Who was the last AFC South player to lead the NFL in receiving touchdowns?
What is DeAndre Hopkins?
Correct.
Yeah.
I told you, it was
1-0.
gonna-
I'm
Alright.
so good at trivia. It's crazy.
Colin.
I'm good at trivia.
What year was the AFC South created?
Dude.
It's not that crazy.
It's really not.
Just think about the teams in it.
Come on, butthead.
I want to say 2000.
Gosh, I want to shove you in a locker for that answer.
Close.
1999.
99.
No.
Oh gosh.
You guys not remember when the Houston Texans became a team?
What, like 96?
No, it was 2002.
2002.
Yeah.
Whatever. 1-0 me. Sorry,
I
bud.
thought you guys would get that. Sorry.
Oh, man.
He's been too busy shoving people in lockers to study up on his trivia.
All right. Reagan.
Yes.
Which Indianapolis Colts receiver set the NFL record for the most receptions in a single season?
Reggie Wayne.
No.
Marvin Harrison.
There you go, Colin.
Let's go! I knew it, dude. I knew you were going to say Reggie Wayne, too.
143 in the year 2002.
I even know that because I had Michael
Same
Thomas
year.
in fantasy, and the year he broke it, I was so excited for him, and I was
Yeah.
keeping up with it. And
You're so good at trivia. 1-1.
so good at
let's go.
trivia.
Okay.
Oh, I fucked up.
Who holds the record for the most career interceptions for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Interceptions thrown or interceptions?
Just interceptions, like who
Okay,
got
so
'em?
defensive player.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
a-
wait, let me double check that actually. I don't know who this guy is.
Like most career interceptions thrown or most career
That's
'Cause
funny.
this is Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is.
a defensive player?
Yeah.
Okay.
My
The
bad.
most picks.
Yeah, but the number is kind of crazy, so I had to double check it.
Like it's a lot,
Yeah, it's like ridiculous.
dude. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this.
I feel like it's going to be obvious. Fix the screen. Fix the screen.
Dude, I don't know. I can't even give you a guess right now.
Reagan?
Jalen Ramsey.
No.
Yeah.
He was never a big like pick guy.
I don't know.
The answer is Rasheem Manthis
Yeah.
with 30 interceptions
Who-
in one season.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Wait,
it is
one
true.
season?
30 interceptions.
Who asked that
I think it was
question?
30. That's probably career INTs.
It says in a season. In
There's
this
no way
question.
he had
Oh,
30
all right, yeah.
Oh, in his career. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah, none of us were gonna get that.
All right, yeah, that would have been
Is
like
that
the
Luke-
greatest.
let me guess,
season
that was
ever,
Luke's
my bad.
question?
No, that was
Oh.
not it. That was not.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was.
Whose
gonna be
question
kind
was
of
that?
easy. That was one of mine.
What? Wow.
Listen. All right.
All right, what's next?
1-1
Reagan,
going in the questions.
are you up?
Yeah, 1-1 going in.
Who did
my
the
third?
Texans draft in the first round of 2016?
Deshaun Watson.
No. Come on. Mm-hmm.
That sucks. No, that wouldn't make sense. Ooh, I know. I think I know now. Yeah, I know now. But I can't see
That
it.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say it just in case I'm right once he's done. Come on, bud.
That's it when I talk.
5, 4,
Yeah, I can get it.
3. Will Fuller.
Pass? Yes, Reagan.
I knew
Wow,
it.
that's
Don't-
good.
Doesn't count.
Oh my gosh.
That's good though.
Yeah.
Okay. This is for Colin. Okay. How many Super Bowls have the AFC South won? Like that whole division.
Colts have 1.
Mm-hmm.
Texans have 0.
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars have 0.
The Titans have though. That's the
How many
real
do the
question.
Titans have?
That's the real question. Oh, no, looking it up. Look at him. He's trying to scroll up and see.
Why would I have that written down? Let me see what was that one.
You're good at taking notes.
I think the Titans have 1. I think it's 2 total.
You got the answer right, but it is actually the Colts twice.
No shit.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, so that counts because
It
the
does
question
count.
was,
I was just, I
Okay,
knew.
we tried to get a
I
little
knew.
fancy. So
I
in
was.
in 1971, the Colts won. They beat the Cowboys 16-13. 35 years later,
Yeah, I knew Peyton
they
won
took
one,
down
I
the
didn't know.
Bears with
That's why I was hoping
Johnny
you.
Unitas.
29.
I was hoping you were going to say the
Johnny
Titans had
Unitas.
0 because I
Yeah.
knew the Colts had
Yeah,
2.
I
You
thought
got
they
that-
could've
you got
gone
that
with
right,
it
though.
there.
Because the Colts, the Colts were like insane back in the day.
I know, Johnny Unitas.
Okay, we got a good question here from
2-1.
That's another guy you could put over Andrew Luck.
Colin, do you
too.
know Matt
Yeah.
Gotes?
That's fair.
Oh, that's Baytoff's boy, Matt Goetz.
Oh, okay, Matt Goetz.
Let's
Yeah.
What's up,
Goetz.
Baytoff's boy? Shout out to you.
He's got a good question here. What receiver played Division III football and played with both the Jaguars and the Texans?
Wow. Does it say like years or no?
I could tell you.
I mean, I feel like that's.
Is
fair.
it like super old school or kind of recent?
I'm gonna type his name in
'Cause
now,
this is like-
I don't know this guy.
Oh well, that's not ideal.
You don't know.
If I don't know. Recent-ish.
He was a Jaguar, and what was the other team?
The Texans. He's 35 years old.
Okay, all right, that kind of clears up some stuff. And he's still in the league.
I don't think so. No.
Jaguars and the Texans.
Round 4, 2011 draft.
Okay, we're getting there. I'll just go Kiki Cutie.
No, he's way
That's
younger than that.
That's a wide receiver.
I thought you said it was a receiver.
I didn't tell you what position he played. Oh yeah, I did. My bad.
He was a receiver,
Yeah, he is
right?
a receiver.
Yeah.
I'm doing really bad right now.
I was gonna say, I was like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
All right. Fuck, man, these questions are hard as shit.
Yeah, this one's fucking hard, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're getting one from Jake's friend, obviously it's going to be a smart question.
Yeah, I mean, they can't.
I'm not even gonna give you a guess.
Alec
Just who is it?
Ogletree? Or not Alec
He's a
Ogletree?
That's a
linebacker.
linebacker.
No, there's a different Ogletree. Kevin Ogletree? Is that what it is?
Well,
I
it's
don't
not one of the Ogletrees.
Who is it?
Cecil Shorts the third.
Oh, Cecil Shorts. That's actually a good question. Do you
That
even
was
know
a
what
great-
that is?
The name sounds familiar from like fantasy years ago, but I
Yeah, I was never gonna guess that, but that's a
yeah,
that's a good question.
It does sound like I definitely heard that name before.
Yeah, he had a
but
good
I would
career.
have never guessed it. All right, Colin for his fourth question, 2-1.
Who is the all-time leading scorer for the Tennessee Titans? Think outside the box.
dude.
The all-time
What the fuck?
leading scorer,
Oh,
Randy Bullock.
No.
Fuck.
George Blanda,
No.
Derrick Henry,
No.
Chris Johnson,
No. Keep guessing.
kicker.
Yeah.
Is that what-
You weren't guessing kickers.
I said Blanda.
Wasn't Randy Bullock?
Yeah, but his name is Rob Baronas.
Who the hell's gonna get that?
With
Oh, Rob Baronis, yeah. He didn't- no, he was a good
1,032
kicker.
1,032 points scored
Yeah,
during
okay.
his career.
Whose
with the
question was
Titans.
That was mine.
No, I made that question.
Oh.
But it was for him.
Yeah, that's what I meant. All
It
right,
doesn't
so if
matter.
I
None
don't
of
get
you
this
guys
right,
got
I
it.
lose. Unless he gets it. No, actually, that's not true. We could toss
I want to
them.
give you the Luke Martirana
There's
question.
2 questions left,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
2 left.
I have a few left, but
Okay.
Yeah, we do 10, 5
Yeah.
each.
Yeah. At least you
okay.
have tiebreaker
This question
questions.
is from Luke Marty. He's going to try to redeem himself here from before. What Titans player was tackled on the 1-yard line on the last play of the 1999 Super Bowl? It was the Rams and the Titans.
Okay, it's fucking. Oh my god.
It said what?
It's Dyson.
Back?
It's Dyson.
What player was
It's
tackled?
Dyson.
Player.
Dyson.
Dyson?
Yeah.
Correct. Kevin Dyson.
No
Yep.
boy. That's a good one, man. Yep.
All right. 2-2. If Colin gets it, he wins.
Okay.
But if he gets it wrong, I can steal and win. Or if we both get it wrong, we go to OT.
That's true.
2-2. Does Colin go?
Come on.
Okay. Who is the only player in NFL history to have returned a kickoff and a punt 4 touchdowns in the same game twice? So he did this thing in multiple games. He
Oh, I know it. I know it. I know it.
played for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, you damn it! Why did you tell him that?
Adoree Jackson.
No.
That's what I thought it was. Actually, no. Actually,
Genius
that's not who
over
I
here.
thought at first.
Chris
I thought-
Johnson?
No, I get the steal still, and I thought it was Agnew, but then you said the Titans, so that's not my guess.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I think he played not recently.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Wide receiver and a return specialist.
Oh! Dexter McCluster?
Nope. Mark Marinari.
Oh, I thought it was Dexter McCluster.
I mean,
Yeah, I know.
McCluster was on the
it's
Titans.
such a
though.
hard question.
Whatever.
So
we
we're
both
gonna-
have hard.
we're gonna
All
go-
right,
we're
OT.
gonna go another one.
OT.
So hard.
OT. First to answer wins. All right, guys. Welcome back in. It's trivia time. I'm about to get to 3-1. Colin's about to go to 1-3 because he's a loser. All right. I can't wait
Good
to
shirt. Good
shove you
shirt.
in a locker, nerd.
Good shirt.
I'm gonna
Nerd.
keep throwing some tough ones at you
Nerd.
guys.
Okay.
What do you think of that, Zach?
So, the Houston Texans, as we established, were
The Baltimore Colts originally, yes.
yeah, but in 2002, that's when they became the Texans. My bad. So, who was the coach? First ever head coach, Houston Texans.
Buddy Ryan? It's a good question. I have no idea.
That's a
Buddy
great
Ryan
question.
ever the
I have no
Texans
idea.
coach? Who was it? Oh, wait. Are you done? Okay.
Dom Capers.
I was not
Oh,
gonna
that's
get
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like one of the best coaches out there. Probably.
that.
I don't know.
These are brutal today, man.
Was Buddy Ryan
These
ever
are
the Texans
brutal.
coach? Can you look that up? Just out of curiosity. Or no, Buddy Ryan. Or no. Oh, or never mind. Just fuck. I don't know. Just next question.
Okay. Name this player. He was a defensive end drafted by the Titans, and he was known for his nickname, the Freak.
Who submitted this? You?
Yeah. These are most of them.
Oh, I mean, they're good questions.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, I thought you guys knew ball.
Yeah, I don't know ball.
I don't know ball. I don't know who's a freak. Who is it?
Jeffrey Simmons.
yeah.
Take a guess.
He's not even a D end.
Mario Williams.
Incorrect.
He was drafted by the Texans.
Siobhan Curse.
Dude,
Oh,
come on.
Everyone
I knew
knows
that.
Jay Curse.
JK.
Yeah.
JK.
All right. Let's see. Might have to get another question since you guys.
Zach, can we get you on another question just in case?
You want me to think of one?
Yeah.
Yeah, think of one, bud. Come on.
All right.
What you got? Was that right on the Buddy Ryan thing?
Wait. Let me do one.
All right, I'm gonna look up that quick. I'm gonna look up answers to questions.
Wait. Now I got one.
I'm just seeing if Buddy Ryan.
I got one right here.
Buddy Ryan. Did he ever coach him? Oh, he was a Houston Oilers defensive coordinator.
Okay.
That counts.
You weren't way off.
I was thinking of the brother too. I was thinking of Rob Ryan, but I said,
Buddy's the pops.
yeah. I mean, Rob Ryan was never even a head coach anyway, so. Damn.
All right.
Damn.
Who did the Tennessee Titans draft with their first pick in 2017?
Kenny Britt?
No.
Fuck, why do I just keep rushing
Kenny
you?
Britt, 2017?
Yeah, he was probably like 2013.
Their first pick in 2017.
Oh, fuck me. Oh, wait, no. Oh, I'm fine.
Adoree Jackson.
Ding, ding, ding.
Let's
ding.
go! Get shit on! Come on! 2-2. Take your medicine. Let's go.
He's like, you're feeding him Giants questions.
Yeah, actually, gave him a Giants question.
Dude, you had every opportunity to get that.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
All
Oh my
right.
gosh. I was trying to trick him up by like whispering Simmons. He didn't say it though. Oh, me, oh my.
All right, guys. That concludes episode 4 of Around the Felt AFC South. The next episode will be our fantasy football special. We know you all got your drafts coming up, so that'll be a fun one.
Yeah. Our goal is to help you guys win your fantasy leagues. Because I know me, I'm winning all my fantasy leagues, including the ones Colin's in and including the ones Joe's in. So I'll give you guys the best advice, and whatever Colin wants to tell you about coming in second place, he can give you advice there. But that's all we got for today, and we'll see you guys next week with a great fantasy football episode.